Let's jump in and talk about the playoffs. So we're gonna give our the one matchup that we're looking forward to see in the playoffs. Mark, have I got that correct, or have I completely spoofed that? You tell me.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like using these playoff generators and seeing what it throws up for you. Or that's how I approach the
Can I
game.
tell you
Anyway,
what game I'm excited for, Mark? Just to start
far
off with,
away, yeah.
as it stands, the Giants go into San Francisco. The sixth seed Giants go into
To
number.
get
No,
smacked
no,
around. That's
no,
why you're
no, no,
interested.
no, no. Oh, absolutely not, myth. Because they've won 8 games. This is an 8 or 9 win team going to San Francisco that have lost both their quarterbacks this season. Hell, they've lost Jimmy. They've lost Trey. No, no. I want to see Daniel Jones play for his life. I think it'd be a great game because it's just funny. You're starting to see all the conversation come out now. Oh, Daniel Jones has done enough to stay on over here. It's like, lads, when are we going to get over this fallacy? I, as a Broncos fan, have sat for years watching Trevor Simeon, Paxton Lynch, all this mediocrity. At least Trevor Simeon has a ring, to be fair to him. And yes, Daniel Jones has made a significant effort this year to try and show that he is the quarterback, and he's been put in a number of situations over the years where it's been difficult for him to do that. But the reality is, you can't just click your fingers and start it together in year 5 or whatever. It's not for me. But I'm very intrigued to see this game because this Giants team should be able to go up against this Giants defense or this Niners defense, which is great. I want to see Saquon make them sweat. But hypothetically, and the odds are very much stacked against them. But if Brian Dable's built up a team here, they need to go in. And Wink Martindale needs to find a way to stop Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Debo, Brandon Ayuk. So I very much look forward to this because it's a playoff game. Everyone's watching it. It deserves the attention that it gets, and they're there for a reason. So I look forward to it big time.
Yeah, yeah. No, when you say it like that, look, the whole figuring out of the playoffs will be to beat the 49ers. Look, the Eagles will be red hot favorites in any game they're in. I think it'd be a real shame if we don't get the 49ers Eagles in the NFC Championship game because they're far and away the best two teams, and that would be unpredictable. That's going to be a 1 point spread, especially if Jalen Hurts is obviously injured. Um, when it comes to the 49ers, I think it'd be a shame if they are to be knocked out. I think best case scenario is actually if they end up in the number 2 seed, which I would have them getting into the number 2 seed, especially if the Packers are able to knock the Vikings off like the 49ers are like tipping at their toes. But I think, yeah, look, if you go back to the Giants of the first few weeks of the season, if we're able to run that thing back, yeah, great. But I think that the NFL has been able to figure out what they're about. So that's why they've been struggling in the last few weeks. Realistically, obviously, they're going to be making the playoffs. I think the Giants Vikings game would be the better matchup because it's two teams that, look, one of them will obviously have to progress, and that's going to annoy certain certain pockets of NFL fans that are saying that they're both frauds. So how do they get an NFL playoff win behind their belt? I don't really care so much for that. I think the Vikings would be able to come out of it. But if I was to put any kind of interest into playoff games, I think it's on the FC because the FC strong teams are obviously legitimately stronger. But if you had an LA Chargers play Jacksonville Jaguars as the fourth and fifth seed, I think that'd be excellent. Especially with the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert storyline that would obviously be in it. Justin Herbert in the playoffs, they finally get there. It's all down to the coaching that they lost, but players play in the playoffs and be up to them to figure it out. The Jags would be obviously coming in very hard and definitely would be able to beat the Chargers. But I think that would be super exciting if that one was to come out. And then the Ravens versus the Bills replay of obviously a few years back when we got that seriously poor weather game when the Ravens just completely fell apart. We figured out that all it was Lamar had no accuracy and he had to hear about it for a whole off season, that they only had a run game and that's all he was worth. So I think in the AFC there's some really bona fide massive matchups. I don't think the NFC touches it, especially in the wildcard round. That those are the ones that I'd be excited for. I think it's Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence specifically playing against one another. Not the future of the NFL, obviously the future is
Staley's
tied
jaw could be
into,
on the line there, big time.
yeah, 100%. If he was to lose that, coming off, yeah, no, 100%, you're dead right. Staley could lose that, but then it's like the other one be, I guess, the Steelers Bengals in that scenario. But yeah, and also Dallas playing the Panthers, who I still have topping that group, especially this week. We might talk some picks later on, so I'll park it. But yeah,
Wow.
that's my pick.
Michaela, it's clear that we're going to have upsets in the playoffs, and I genuinely mean what I say about that Niners Giants game. If it was to stand, I agree with Mark. It would look maybe more than likely it could be Vikings against the Giants. Um, but yeah, there's some really really good matchups in the AFC as well potentially, and we're only 2 weeks away from this madness starting. So I would get caught up in your sleep now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the playoff picture now. As it stands, these would who everyone would be playing. So Herbert and Burrow will be playing each other. The Chargers would be playing the Bengals, and I think if that was to stick around, that would probably be the game of the playoffs because we all obviously rate both of those quarterbacks really really highly. Like Joe Burrow is still in MVP talks at the moment. Herbert isn't, but he's still a great quarterback and we all really like him and he will get an MVP at some point in his career. So I would personally love to see that matchup because I think Mark's right is that the NFC doesn't touch the AFC in terms of teams and matchups because there is some frauds in the NFC. Like I don't think the Giants are frauds. I like it would be nice if like the 7th seed of say the Jaguars, or it'd be really fun if the Jaguars and say the Giants got to the divisional rounds, or not even the sorry, not the divisional rounds, the championship games. Like that would be like I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be really really surprising and exciting if it did. But for me, I'd be looking at kind of like yeah, Herbert and Burrow matchup. I think that would be really fun if it. I hope it does happen. That would be my game to watch.